Hey friends, welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I'm Nate, and today I thought I'd finish off my night with a rye, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. So, this is going to be from a sample box that I got. This is a Clyde Maze box. I've got 3 whiskeys in it. I've got the straight rye whiskey, the regular straight bourbon whiskey, and then their Alabama style whiskey. Now the bourbon and the rye are both MGP from Indiana. The Alabama whiskey is their own stuff. Not gonna lie, the Alabama whiskey was not good. Not a fan. The straight bourbon whiskey, it was MGP, so it was fine. And so this is going to be their straight rye whiskey. This comes in at 94 proof. And because it's MGP, it is probably, but not guaranteed, their classic 95.5 rye mash bill, the 95% rye, 5% barley. Because we're talking about rye, so I'm shooting this video on December 20th. This past weekend, I was actually in our local big chain liquor store. We don't have any like total line or specs, but we have this one particular chain that has 3 local places. And I was in there and I overheard a customer asking an employee, he's like, hey, can you tell me the rye mash bills because I want to get a high rye. I want something that has a lot of rye in it. The employee didn't know. He radioed for a manager, and on his radio call he said, hey, can anybody come that knows anything about rye mash bills? And the manager comes out of a door to our left, and as he's walking up, he goes, hey man, I don't know anybody that can tell you about that except for maybe the marketers. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I do not like to step on realtors' toes. I want them to get the sale. I want them to do their job. I want them to know what they're talking about. So I never try to interfere. However, I did in this circumstance. This guy wanted a rye, and he knew he wanted high rye content. So he knew enough to know that mash bills have different grains in them, but he didn't know what mash bills had what. And if you don't know, you don't know. I'm lucky enough to have been involved in the Whiskey Tube community as a consumer of content for long enough where I've learned some of these things. And so I wanted this guy to have a good experience. I wanted to be able to buy a bottle that he knew what it was. And so I said, hey, I can help you out there. I interjected, didn't want to, but did. First thing I went to, Bullet Rye, 95.5, classic MGP. And then we talked about a few more. He asked about a couple that I honestly didn't know. But then right after I mentioned Bullet, his first grab was Pikesville, which I have a bottle of it up there. And if you know, Pikesville is a barely rye. It comes in right at 51%. So I was glad that I stepped in because he might have bought that and been disappointed because there wasn't a ton of rye spice in there. So I was able to talk about that, and then I went to, because I didn't want to just get, sell them on a cheaper bottle, which Bullet Rye kind of is. So I pointed at a Sagamore Rye, and I was like, oh yeah, this too. And I kind of explained a touch about MGP and things like that. And the manager saw me pointing to the Sagamore. He's like, oh no, that's a Maryland Rye. That's a Maryland Rye. And I didn't say anything, but I was standing, it was myself, right to the right was the other customer, and then the manager was about 3 feet to his right. And rather than say anything, I just turned the bottle over and I pointed to the bottom where it said it's still in Indiana, and the customer saw that, and he got what I was saying. So I don't like doing that. It really bugged me that I had to, and actually I had to get it off my chest, the fact that I did it, because it bugged me, and I'm sorry that I did that. But I feel like I was trying to help another fellow whiskey person out. Maybe that was somebody that was new on their journey, and somebody that just wanted something specific. They wanted a rye whiskey, and they wanted it with a lot of rye content. And he knew enough to know that there's different percentages in the mash bill, and he knew what he wanted. He just didn't know what he wanted. And so I felt it was my duty as a whiskey tuber, as a whiskey lover, to help a guy out. And so I did. And it turns out that manager was a wine guy anyway, so he didn't know anything, and that's frustrating. So this is Clyde Maze Straight Rye Whiskey. It comes in at 94, 47%, non-chill filtered, and it's MGP. And this came in that little kit. This is a 50 milliliter bottle. This kind of kills it off. Sorry I didn't shoot the other ones. I was okay with the bourbon. Nothing fancy, nothing going. But that Alabama one was not good. So This has nice color to it. Oh, classic rye notes. Getting the spice, a little bit of allspice. Not really any licorice like anise or anything, star of anise or whatever it's called. Not really any of that. More like a clove. I think I'm coming down with something, maybe a little sinusy. So when I've shot the last several videos, I think my nose has been off a little bit. But I can tell this is a rye. Pretty classic rye. Not killing me on the proof because obviously it's not massively high proof. Man, I really like ryes lately. I've said that on a couple of videos recently that I've really liked ryes. I've purchased quite a few ryes within the last year and a half or so because I kind of been to complete my collection, you know. I really like Elijah Craig, so I have the barrel proofs I have all three from 21. Then I have a single barrel 94 proof, and then I was like, I had to get a Knob Creek rye, so I have that. I have a Knob Creek, I'm sorry, I have Elijah Craig rye. I also love Knob Creek, so I had to get one of those just to have. And then, you know, I got quite a few ryes, but I wasn't really going to those regularly. I was mostly going to bourbon or scotch or something. But then within the last couple of months, so I'm in the middle of December, I've been really hitting the rye, and I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. So let's give this a taste. Classic rye. Just straight up classic rye. Really good. Spice is clinging to my tongue. I really like the finish on a rye. So right now the finish is in my mouth. I really like that. Just the way that it sits, the way that it lingers. That's one of my favorite finishes is rye. And it's so comforting. It's so nice. Man, that's good. I don't know how much a regular bottle of that costs. Again, that was a sample. Honestly, I bought that probably 6 or 8 months ago and finally got to finishing it, that little sample pack. Kind of wanted it off my shelves, so I got to finishing it. And I like rye. I wouldn't have done the other two as a video, but I do really like rye, so I wanted to give this its due. Man. Good stuff. Good stuff. If it's a good price point, go ahead and grab it. It's an MGP Rye, so just know what you're getting when you do. And that was good. Highly recommend. That's a good rye. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry the last couple of videos have kind of been a little bit subpar. I feel like the last couple of videos I shot have been. I feel like I might be getting under the weather, so I'm going to take a little bit of time and try to nurse that. But hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy your rye, enjoy your bourbon, enjoy your whiskey. I'll see you next time. Cheers.